Hey friends, welcome to the Crafty Critic, the cozy corner where we craft, relax, and talk all things movies and TV. So grab your diamond painting, coloring book, puzzle, or favorite craft, get comfortable, and let's escape into a little creativity and entertainment together. Let's talk from season 4, episode 4. Now, is anyone else out there getting a little bit frustrated because these people refuse to talk to one another? I am so frustrated because I'm kind of wondering, we're on season 4, episode 4, and yet we still have another season to go. So what could possibly happen in this season to, one, give us answers, two, figure out what's going on as far as, characters? Are we losing characters? Are new characters going to be brought in? Or are we going to be still with the same cast for the next and final season? So lots of things to unpack and lots of things for them to reveal during this season. At least I hope we get more answers and get closer to the truth of what's going on with them. But right now, some of these episodes are so dry, and I love but they have been super dry as far as the people in the colony house, like the back members, because remember we used to get a little bit of story and a little bit of them talking to the monsters and letting the monsters in because one guy was romancing the monster, and then we had the other guy was going crazy saying everybody's gonna, be unalived. And so you had something, with Dale, and he was going to go through the tree, and he, was frustrated. These people right now in the background people, it seems like they're not even a concern at all. The monsters are not really a concern for anybody anymore. They're not like scared of it or anything. No one sits down and talk to each other. We haven't even seen Bacta until, I think that's her name, Bacta, until this episode. So she hasn't even really been running the restaurant. So it's just a little bit like we need something else. We need a little more. I know we got our main people, but we need a little more. And don't get me started on Jim, because the way they had ended him is just not, I was like, that's just not cool, and I didn't really care for Jim. I don't really, don't need him popping up here and there really at all in the show. Don't miss him really at all. Sad to say. But, I still think that he deserved a better ending than what he got, because it was just so dry. I just was like, that's just not fair to him. I'll give him that. But another thing that frustrates me about from is Tabitha. She's not really a good mom, because after Jim passed, and I know I'm supposed to be talking about episode 4, but I'm just recapping my frustrations with it, because when after Jim was found in the barn by his children, that's the time you need to comfort them the most. But she decides to leave them yet again, leave Julie with her responsibility of watching over Ethan to go and scrub the paint from the wall. Not even like Jim's blood or anything, just to scrub paint, which she was not doing a good job at all. And I just find she has a tendency to leave her kids all the time, which is probably why they have this problem in the first place with the Cooley children, because they're like, could you remember us? Because you not good in no lifetime with your kids. Like, not one. Come on now. Then she frustrated me to no end when she was talking about going through the tree again. The first time you had a chance, you brought back Victor's dad. Yes, that's good. But you did nothing else in the meantime. And you want a second bite at the apple. Like, she tried to go through the tree real fast, left Donna a note to watch over her children. And right after they lost their dad, so now they were supposed to lose their mom, and you had no idea if you could get back into the town. I just don't understand that, because I'm not leaving my kids a second time. The first time she didn't know if she could get back, and I gotta get back, I gotta get back. But you were lucky enough to get back a second time. Like, why would you go? I mean, that time, but why would you go again and leave them again? It's giving you don't want kids. It's giving you're a bad mom. I don't like it. But Victor dad, he seen her about to go ahead and jump through that tree. He was like, hold up. Them your kids. Okay, them your kids. You got to stay here with them. It's nobody else's responsibility but yours. And how they gonna feel that they don't have a mom or a dad? Like, look at what happened with Victor. He ain't had no mom, no dad. His sister was going, and like he's really, really disturbed. Like, rightfully so. I mean, he did the most surviving out of everybody. They just need to sit down. He needs to have a safe place. Now that he got his dad, he feels comfortable talking to him. He needs a safe place to open up and express everything. Ask him what's in the pictures. What happened in the picture? Who is that person, the man in the yellow? Who is these people? Like, why are they significant to your drawings? Like, nobody is doing that. And maybe, hopefully, his dad will do that. Okay, so during this episode, they open up and they're talking about, Victor, and he basically, peed his pants when he saw the yellow suit and all. And they're like, "Who is that? Who does the suit belong to?" And Victor's dad is talking about basically, the drawings that was in his wife basement and in his basement for 40 years. Um, Now seeing them like come to fruition, like the yellow suit, the boy in the white saying that they're running out of time. Like that's a problem. Like he's like, I tried to make this normal. Like I tried to, rationalize it in my head, but this is not normal. So, he wants to, Boyd is like, we need to talk to Victor about this man in yellow suit or whatever. And he's like, I'll talk to my son. Like, cause for real, y'all had plenty of time to talk to him. Now y'all want to talk to him? Nah, bruh, back up. I'm gonna talk to my son, and y'all hang back, and I'm gonna get the answers that we need. Because honestly, that's probably the only way they're gonna get answers. Because these people have become complacent. They just there, not doing nothing. I love Donna, but she is not doing anything. And this episode, she starts doing something like, she's going to go get the food and all, which makes me wonder if they're foreshadowing something that is going to happen to her. I'd be upset, but she's really not adding much to the plot, but I'd still be upset if we lost Donna. So they're also talking about Jade taking some mushrooms to maybe get back some memories and, so that he's not like blocked with, holding back on the memories and stuff because, they seem to be blocked with everything that has a memory. If they find out any new piece of info, something happens in the town to like punish them for it. But they're running out of time. So he's like, we got to do what we got to do. So he's going to take some mushrooms. Boy's going to watch him and hopefully they're gonna get some answers. I'm still wondering what's going on with the cop, the Acosta. I think that's her name. I'm wondering what's going on with her because she was left, with the task of checking, out the old items that people left behind to see if she can find some answers and all. And we haven't heard from her. Now, I don't like her, and it's refreshing not to see her in the episode, but we still need to know if she found any answers. So, like maybe she brought up something fresh. Like that's the point. Y'all should be having a meeting. So if anybody found anything new, or maybe a couple of people could go in there and help and sift through things and piece things together. That's how a community should be working. But hopefully this episode tonight will get some answers for that. So then, up in the bedroom, Sophia is looking through some letters for Pastor Doone. And I'm wondering why she reading those letters. And I can't believe they really believe that she was the pastor's daughter and that he had a wife and stuff because pastors are not supposed to have that, right? But maybe I'm old school. Like, that's what I used to think, that they're not supposed to be, they're supposed to be like, celibate. They ain't supposed to be having no wives and stuff like that. But I don't know. That could have been back in the day. Pastors, like, I mean, he looked like a Catholic one, so not like some of the churches these days or whatever, but like the Catholic the priests or whatever, do they not, are they not supposed to not have wives and kids and stuff? I don't know. So correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments. I've been wrong once, back in 1999. So yeah, it could happen. But so anyway, so Sophia is reading these notes or whatever, and Sarah comes upstairs and she's asking her like basically why does she want to stay there with her, and that she knows that, does she know, did Kenny tell her and fill her in on the things that she's done? And she says yes. And then she says her father once told her that good people are tortured by bad things that they've done. So only good people are tortured by bad things that they've done, which really does make sense because, if you're a bad person and you've done something, you're not tortured. You're sleeping real good at night. But if you are, technically a good person and you've done something that is, against what you believe in, you would be tortured by that. So that does make sense. And, Sarah doesn't seem to feel good about anything that she's done or any choices. It's like basically what the town has turned her into and these voices or whatever. So when she goes downstairs, Sophia starts whispering and everything, and Sarah hears the voices and it instructs her to do something really bad, or she considers really bad, and which is go to the diner and take some water from the pitcher, drink some of it, and then pour it back into the pitcher, which ill is disgusting. So on top of that, Sarah is worried that she is going to spread whatever is in her, the voices to the townspeople, which would be really, really bad, but also really clever. Like, if that was a possibility, if it would help the man in yellow. So I'm just wondering that's legit. But that's what she's tasked to do, which she speaks to Elgin about. And Elgin is like, that's nothing, like, compared to what he had to do. He's like, girl, that ain't nothing. But she's like, I don't want to do that, because what if I do spread this and all. And so yeah, it makes sense. But I do like the fact that I don't like Elgin either. Like, I know you're wondering if I like anybody in the cast. I do, I promise you. But these people frustrate me. But I do like the maturity that they are still able to talk to him, because they understand the effects the town has on them. So they're able to still hold a conversation with him and stuff like that, and all, because they've all had something happen to them or touch them in some type of way in this town, so they can kind of forgive, or at least let it go. So Sarah is told that if she does not do this, if she does not drink this water and pour it back in the pitcher, that something bad will happen to someone that she loves. And I'm just like, who you love, Sarah? Who are you love in this town? Because you don't really have anybody that you love like that. And yeah, she by herself and everything, and maybe she care about some of the people, but I was like really asking myself, who you love? Because it's not Elgin. You, you don't love him. So when she doesn't do it, all of a sudden, I'm sorry, I'm getting my names mixed up. All of a sudden, Sophia falls into the pool. Like, she falls and kind of breaks her arm or whatever. And she's like that. She felt like something had pushed her, which is a mind game to make Sarah go and do it. And she rushes in there to go and do it. And I'm just like, so you love Sophia? You love this girl you don't know? Girl, bye. So we'll come back to that. So now, Tabitha is talking to Ethan about the Lake of Tears and him seeing his dad. And she's, asking him basically, why didn't he come to her with it? And he said, basically because I knew you wouldn't believe me, which is true. But also, like, what? Because what is also frustrating me is that you've guys seen the impossible. You've been driving around and around when you first got there and kept coming back to the same spot. That's impossible. You've seen things that are impossible. These monsters walking and they're stopped by your talisman that they can't get inside the house. They've been, pew pew that. I don't want to get, my video taken down. So it hasn't affected them. So why don't you believe that there could be a lake of tears? You went up into a tower, into a light house, a light tower, and you got pushed out the window. You got pushed out and ended up back into the real world. Like, why is it so impossible to think that there could possibly be a lake of tears, and that he could have possibly seen his father, when you've been seeing uncoolly kids that's been gone for years, like for decades? Like, you really can't wrap your brain around the possibility of him seeing his father and there being a lake of tears. Like, I just can't understand how slow they being. So anyway, she's gonna go on this little quest with him and take him with them to go get the food and all, and so that he can look for this lake of tears. She's, basically coddling his idea, even though she doesn't believe it, which is probably another problem. Maybe if you believe something, it would help you out. But she wanted Julie to go, and Julie is over with Randall, and she's like, I'll be safe with him and everything, because she is working on something herself. She's about to dig into these children books, and she said something really interesting about the maybe there's different authors and stuff that have basically aided into what this place is, because she's like, the book that he was reading at the time with the Lake of Tears and stuff, maybe it seeped into this town or whatever because of different authors. And I'm like, maybe there's other children's books there or something that they need to look at. And maybe possibly is that why the children were sacrificed? Because their dreams, nightmares, nursery rhymes, all of those things were coming to play like one big huge nightmare at in this town. So maybe it's something with the children's subconsciousness or their storytelling or whatever that is being like let loose on the town. I know it's very far fetched and everything, but maybe that's why they decided that they were going to sacrifice these children, but then they just turned into like a whole loop, like as a punishment type of thing, and they have to figure out how to undo what they've done to these children. I don't know, but I'm just saying it's a lot of nursery rhymes and children book stories and stuff like that that is coming to pass, like that's being kind of geared towards, like someone had like a post up about like the old maids, like cards, like the old maid game, that old maid as being that monster in the beginning that came after the child. And there was another one with like smiley image on the card. I don't know what those games are. I have never played that one. But it made a lot of sense. The milkman, the cowboy, it made sense. So this is like a children's like nightmare playground right here. So with Julie and Randall looking through the notebooks, through the books and all, she finds out that there's a story walker in one of the books, that's basically her. And the way he was getting to certain points in the story was by leaving a bookmark. So, she is looking into doing that and seeing if she could possibly leave a bookmark, which is really pretty smart. Like, if she's able to do that, then she's able to go back to any time that she needs to go to. Now, remind you that the man in yellow and all said once the story in Ethan said once the story has been told, you cannot change it. But can they not? Because with Father Khatri, when he was talking about they could be in the book, the 47th book, which is a constant number in the show, as we all know, he's saying, and there is yet to be written, like maybe it's being written now. So if that's the case, then they maybe can change things that hasn't been done before, because this is the closest anyone has gotten. And if that's the case, that's a change, right? Because if it's always the same thing, they'll never get closer to the truth. But now something is happening that they are getting closer to the truth. And like the boy in white said, you're running out of time and you're asking the wrong questions. And what made me think of that was when Boyd was having a conversation with Jade about Fatima and her making the golem upstairs. And he said, maybe the question shouldn't be why she's making one. Maybe it should be why she's making one now. And exactly. But, wouldn't that be kind of cool if this golem could actually be a different type of protection from the talisman, because the talisman don't seem to have an effect on the man in yellow because he's able to touch it and all. But he also was in the building each time, so maybe he could touch it because he's in the building. And even when he was outside, well, as Sophia, when he was outside and Kenny ran him back in the house with the door being open, he could come back in because he was already in there. So I don't know if it would it really have an effect if he was on the outside and they closed him out, and could he get in? That would be interesting to find out. I really do want to know though, why was there a rebirth of Smiley? Now, just thinking about it, why was there a rebirth of Smiley and he hasn't been shown? There's no monsters really being shown lately. I don't know. Just was a thought. Back to what I was saying. So Victor's dad is outside talking to him, and Victor is checking about the trees to see if they moved again. And he said that he's been slacking. Basically, he hasn't been checking, he hasn't been on point with it, and now he has to get back to business because he's like like this, seeing that man in yellow suit, he already knows something's about to happen. And his dad offers to help him and all, but his dad really wants to know about this man in yellow. And eventually he helps him, and then he tells Victor, can he tell him about the man in yellow? And Victor's like, I'll show you. So they cut over to the search party, the party for the food, going out to this lake, maybe possibly Lake of Tears, and going to get this food. And Tabitha is sitting down and she is talking to Donna, and Donna is talking about, don't you leave me no note again and try to leave me your kids. Like, girl, bye. Like, why would you think that I want to raise your children? Like, what the heck? I came here with no kids. They're not my responsibility. They're yours. They're your responsibility. But no, she didn't say all that. But she did say, don't leave me no note next time like that. Like, these are your children. They need you. And basically, if anybody is going to do anything dangerous and stupid and get themselves unalived, that is going to be her. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, she's here on this trip. She's talking like this. Is she the next to go? But would that would be so obvious, but I'm still wondering, like, she could possibly, this could be her time to go. And Tabitha is saying, she feels like she's all alone. She doesn't have her husband to pawn the kids off on anymore. So she could fake like she's looking for answers, but don't really want to know, because she keeps saying no, 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 no every time she gets any type of insight to anything. So Donna's like, you're not alone. And girl, you're not, because everybody in that town has been raising your children. You barely there. But she's like, you're not alone. We're all in this together. Y'all my family, so just as close as any family could ever be. And yeah, how could you not be? Because y'all all in this together. So sit down and talk. Please, we need y'all to sit down and talk to one another. Thank you. Now, as they're walking, there's like a bird that has fallen out of the nest, and it has a broken wing. And so Ethan is like, oh, this is a sign. We need to, take this baby bird to the Lake of Tears to heal it. So we'll know that that's the Lake of Tears. Now, isn't that odd that this just happens to be a bird with a broken wing on the road, and they have not seen any other signs of life. We've seen a dog that, comes and goes. The crows, which was crazy that the crows had came into town at one time. I just want to make this little point. And it was when they was burying Jim in Sophia's fake dad. And the crows came into town. They was like, hey, they never in town like that or whatever. But they're called a murder. So basically it's like the crows were trying to tell them murder, like both of them people were murdered that you're burying. But anyway, back to this little baby bird. There's not been any signs of life besides that. And of course, boy, dealing with them spiders and cicadas. Okay. So this is definitely some type of sign, so that we'll know if they reach the Lake of Tears. And I'm wondering if this is the Lake of Tears. It seemed too easy for this to be the Lake of Tears. But I mean, and maybe the area is not that big, because it's like almost like they're in a dome, like in a little circle, right? So is there another lake? Because when she went to the lighthouse and all, which is usually where water is, and it's like, directing the boats and stuff to come in safely and all of that stuff. But I don't remember there being water there, right? So, but I'm wondering if there's water surrounding that somewhere, somehow, and she got past it because she went through the tree. So do y'all think that this is the Lake of Tears or not? I'm not really convinced that it is. But it would be nice that it is. But I think Jim knows about that lake. Like, so he wouldn't say find the Lake of Tears. So I don't buy that it is. So that's just my theory that it's not. So what do you guys think? Tell me down in the comments. So we know this is Donna's first time coming to this lake to get food, because she's looking at the totem poles, the little statues, and she's creeped out. She's like, they're even creepier in person, which means that, they told her about the place. And Ethan says Jade said there to ward off evil spirits. And, she's looking really shocked. So I'm just really wondering if one of our faves is going to be going tonight. Like, that's going to be so sad. So then they cut back to Julie and Randall, and she is getting ready to go and do this whole the story walking thing, and try to use the bookmark and see if she can get back and back to where she wants to be in the story, right? But now what frustrated me was because she cut her hair, and I was saying from the episode before that if she doesn't cut her hair anytime soon that she could possibly definitely be a Julie from the future, which means that whatever may happen in the town, whatever may go down, that maybe she's a survivor of that, because her hair was short and we had not seen her hair short. So I was like, as long as she doesn't cut her hair now during this time, we know that that story walker was from the future. And then she cuts her hair. And I'm like, bruh, no, Julie, no. And then she says the reason she's doing it is because, the last time one of them creatures, they grabbed her by the hair, and that's not going to happen this time. But I'm like, girl, you still got hair. So you need to do it like his hair. You need to cut it like his hair, and then you won't have hair for them to grab it. But she's not going to do that. I said, girl, I could grab that hair. I don't know what you're talking about. So Julie believes that if she takes the piece of paper and while she's in her story walking mode, she draws this symbol like from the book on the piece of paper, and then she drops it and leaves it there, that the piece of paper that she has in the time she's in now will have that symbol, so that she can basically go to that symbol and then be able to be transported back into that point of the story when she gets in the book. Now, Randall has been helping her do all of this, and he still frustrates me because he is basically like, so what is the point of this and everything? And she's like, it's because I want to be able to, maybe I could change something. And he's just like, so you asked me to watch you have a seizure again. And she's like, I'm asking you for 5 seconds, bruh. Like, why do you think we're here? Why did you bring me the utensils? Like, he bought the paper, he bought the pens and markers and all. Like, what we're about to do. But you keep questioning everything, but you're doing it because she's like, well, I'll just do it myself. Just save us the time so that we can find out something new and we don't waste it on you constantly asking her, well, what if this don't work? Well, why would you do this? Well, maybe you shouldn't. It's dangerous. But you keep helping her because she's only going to tell you that she's going to do it without you. She cannot do the story walk without you because, bro, you need to pull her out. And I hope and I pray that she does not go into one of these story walking modes and then something happens to Randall out, and they have to pull her out, because then she is going to be stuck in the past, which is a crazy thought, bruh. That would be entertaining though, but it's a crazy thought because obviously Sophia, the man in yellow, knows what's going on around him because he knows about Sarah and her pouring the water and when she didn't. And I'll get back to that. But it's like he knows everything that's going on. So I don't know how he's able to figure that out. So maybe he knows that they're doing this too. Not really sure. But if his past self will see Julie, maybe his present self will know what she's up to. I don't know. It's confusing but exciting. So Julie steps into the story walking mode, and she has the piece of paper in her pocket, and she walks into a time where the town was like eradicated. Okay, there's bodies everywhere, torn apart, and she is totally shocked by the whole scene. And we know it's from the past. It's from a time that Victor was when he was little, because the sign for the motel is there, whereas it now in the future is not there. So she stepped into the past and like way back. And I think that she stepped way back to where the man in the yellow does not know who she is, because before she, when she stepped back, he recognized her and said, from when are you from, this time or whatever. And it's crazy because he eventually is going to notice her again, because he notices her there. He doesn't say anything. He just goes after her, where when she goes back to her dad, she still has a short hair, just like he's seen her now. So those interactions have happened like while she has short hair, but she's in a different outfit when she goes to go get her, try to get her dad. So she does attempt it again. We do know for sure. And that time he says something to her. He knows her name. Now I wonder if he knows her name because now he's in the town and getting to know everybody. And so that's how he knows her name, because in the past that she just went to, he has no clue who she is, at least at this point, So I wonder why the bookmark didn't work. Like, was she to leave the piece of paper outside with Randall and not take it in with her? She drew the symbol. Did she draw it wrong? Did she got to do something else? Like, I wonder if it's a different symbol she had to draw, but I wonder why it didn't work. But that had to be terrifying. Like, I wouldn't want that ability, and especially when you have to rely on somebody else to get you out. Oh no, that's terrifying. So we cut back over to Victor and his dad. And Victor is digging these holes looking for the painting, the pictures that he had buried. So when he unearths the pictures and his dad is looking through them, it's the man in yellow. And he starts telling the story. And he's like, the man in yellow, he came in a car just like us, like everybody else. I thought it was funny, his yellow suit, which is why he remembers him. He thought that they were, friends. They all brought him in and he acted like he was just like them, but he wasn't. He is like Sophia is right now. And except that he, of course, took a different form instead of um, the yellow suit, which makes me think that he did it that one time maybe before. I'm not sure about the past, but we at least know that he was the man in the yellow form and he stayed in that form until he said, well, this new group, I'm going to have to change that form to something else because Victor knows who I am. So he is now Sophia, and Victor says that he came in the car, he's chilling with us, but he was not like us. And then that day that he seen his mom, she was at the bottle tree and he was eating her, which is why he is terrified, why he peed his pants, seeing that suit again and saying like, oh my God, he could see it happening again, and he has his dad there, and who knows what could happen. So yeah, it's very understandable that he would pee his pants and that he would feel this type of way. The picture though looked like it was the boy in white, but of course he's not the best drawer, but that person looked like they had on white on. But anyway, he said he was eating his mom, and so his dad is freaking out, which rightfully so. So we cut back to Christy now trying to patch up Sophia. And, she's telling her, I'm sorry. I know this is all very scary. And Sophia says, this is why we're here. God is testing us and, allowing us to prove how much faith, we have in him. Then when she noticed that they kind of look at each other like they don't believe her, and then she says, I know this all sounds silly to you. And, Chrissy's like, no, no, and then she said, do you know the story of Abraham? And they're both like, no. And I'm like, oh my goodness, y'all really don't know anything about the Bible? Like nothing at all. So maybe that's the reason why some of these people are chosen. Maybe they don't know much about the Bible. Father Kotri, of course, he knows about the Bible, but he wasn't traveling with one like how, the other pastor was. And maybe that's why she got rid of that pastor right away. And, Father Kotri had some alcohol with him. He had some things that he had done in the past, whatever. So it's definitely looking like these are tests as well. But then she goes on to explain this story of Abraham, who had an unshakable faith in God. She talks about how God tested Abraham and one day ordered him to kill his only son to prove how much faith he had in him. But at the last moment before Abraham did what he was asked to do, God intervened and offered up a ram instead. As she is telling this story, it cuts over to Bhakta, who takes the pitcher of water that Sarah poured her drink into and she pours it out, and Sarah looks really, really confused. Then Sophia says, you see, God never intended on Abraham killing his son. He simply needed to know if he would, which is crazy and brilliant because it's basically like she's in control of Sarah, and she basically proved that she would do whatever she's told to do. And we seen that in the beginning where she was very well going to go and do what she was told to do. So she's like a disciple to him. But he's, to use that parable, about God, it's like she's trying to say she's God, but she's I guess to herself she's a god, but she's moving more like Satan, and that means that this is seeming definitely like a battle between good and evil, which we kind of all, thought possibly and everything, but it's more now showing that this is like a test. Maybe they're in a limbo world, and like maybe they all had an accident on this road with this tree or something, and maybe they are is whatever they do here is going to decide whether they end up in hell or and they end up in heaven, or are they at a crossroad where they could possibly be like in a coma, whether they'll live or whether they'll die. Let me know what you think. What are y'all some of the theories and stuff that you have heard so far, as far as how the show is going to end or what we're dealing with right now? Let me know if you heard anything that's really, really good that you're thinking is quite possibly the storyline or the way it's going. Like, that's absolutely um where you're heading, like you believe it. Because there's been so many that I'm just like, no, I know they've been saying that, Ethan is the man in yellow because he wears a lot of yellow and everything. Could just mean he's connected to him, that's one of the characters he made up in, the story that he be reading, and his in his imagination. I don't know, but I'm interested in to know what you guys think as far as your theories on the show. Let me know down in the comments. Let's have a conversation. So Boyd and Kenny goes to speak to Fatima to find out, why she is now making this monster, this golem. Why did she choose to do it now? Which is now, like, yeah, communication. That's what we need. So she explains to him that she still feels the things she carried inside her. She still feels Smiley. And she should. That's her baby. That's his grandbaby she's talking about. Should feel a connection to your child. But anyway, she feels this connection to Smiley, and he knows that she's afraid, and he likes it, so it goes both ways. She says that he also feels what she feels, and by her making the golem is the only way she knows how to fight back. It makes her feel strong, makes her feel less afraid, and maybe that will make him feel afraid because she's no longer afraid. So she's trying to do whatever she can to help her own mental, and I respect that. Like, could this have been made outside? I don't know, but maybe she needs it in the house, because maybe she's going to need to run up to that room at some point. Maybe they all will, if anything gets back inside this house, maybe this golem will come to life. That would be freaking awesome. So as Boyd is leaving, he a ring starts to roll down the steps, a gold ring. So he picks it up and he looks at it, and he's like, And he looks inside, and it's the infinity symbol, like on his wife ring. So he's like, the last time he seen it, he had put it in the box, in the sheriff office or whatever. So he takes Jade and he rushes back with him, and he's like, I gotta go. Like, he's like, give me a second, let me go and look. So he puts the ring down on the table on the nightstand, and then he looks and pulls out the box, and he looks through it, and he finds the ring with the same infinity symbol. And then the ring, when he goes, he's like, what? And then he goes to reach for it, the ring is no longer there. So what in the world could that possibly, what could that be? Like, is he in a time warp himself or something? Like, is he in a loop himself? It's almost as if he's the one that took the mushrooms, honestly. So then it cuts back over to them at the Lake of Tears, which may not be the Lake of Tears. And, they're reminiscing about Saturday morning cartoons, which I like because, it's like you're trying to stay connected to the outside world, and as they're pulling up the vegetables, Ethan is telling his mom and Donna, like, about the water, the lake. And so they take some of the water and they're pouring like all this water onto this bird. And the bird is just basking in it. Like, what are y'all doing? Why are we getting me wet? Because he don't look like he's healing or anything. But, we'll see in this next episode. But, Roger, one of the townsfolk that we barely ever see, he starts pulling on a rope, and he's like, what the, so he's pulling on it and everything, and everybody starts looking, and, it looks like a creature or something is coming up out of the water, because like bubbling, like as if it's really like the Loch Ness monster coming out of the water or something. But it's like it looks like what could be bodies being lifted up into like, and like all this like kind of marsh and net and stuff like that that's inside the water. How'd that get in there? Like, could you think about it, like with people, like let's say even if the townspeople decided that they were gonna put something there, like they would have needed a boat or something to get it all the way out there and to drop it all the way into like the center of this lake and put it on this very heavy rope and that links back to the island. Or I don't know who put that there, but I don't think them people did that. There's no way you're tossing it that far out there, and what is the point of them being out there? And stop uprooting stuff, because now y'all adding a whole nother layer to this, because we don't know what them things is. I don't think it's bodies, because we've seen clips that there's some type of big scarecrow things looking or whatever that busts into one of the shed things, them little rooms that they're gonna be in. So we can almost guess that it's gonna be that, but what is it about them, and why did y'all uproot them, and now y'all got another danger, another set of monsters or something to deal with. But I'm here for it, because you know what? We haven't seen no monster action in a minute, and I'm definitely here for it. So that ends that episode, and I can't wait to watch the next one tonight. So yeah, let me know down in the comments, what did you think about it? What do you think about this season altogether so far? Because I'm like, it could have definitely been stronger in my opinion and everything, but I'm still here. I'm here to the end. I mean, I've been disappointed like in God at the end, like Game of Thrones, if y'all don't know what that's got, and if you're a fan, you would know what that's got. But I've been disappointed. I know people have watched Lost. I never watched like Lost, because I started it a little bit and not too long ago for the first season, but then everybody was so disappointed with the ending of that. I was just like, I don't really want to invest in another another series just to be disappointed at the end. I'm already invested in this, and if I get disappointed in the end, that's my fault. But I'm here with you from to the end, from family, fromily. I'm with y'all to the end with this. We're gonna see it all the way through, no matter what it is, and we're gonna keep making guesses, and they're probably gonna be wrong all the way to the end. But anyway, thank you so much for spending this cozy, crafty little moment with me here at the Crafty Critic. I hope today's conversation helped you relax, unwind, and maybe forget the stress of the outside world for a little while. Remember to take care of your mind, protect your peace, and always make time for the little things that bring you joy. If you enjoyed crafting and chatting with me today, don't forget to like, subscribe, and come back for more cozy conversations, entertainment talk, and creative vibes. Until next time, stay crafty, stay cozy, and keep creating your calm. Bye!